What's up guys, and welcome to this new YouTube video here on my YouTube channel. I am super stoked. I just had an amazing wave windsurf session here in Tarifa. We will jump into that session in just a moment. And guys, I'm a wave windsurf beginner myself, but this year I felt like I learned a lot of things out there on the water that really changed the sensation, the experience that I have out there when I do, my little amateur wave windsurfing. And in this video, I want to share everything that I've learned. And with that being said, let's jump straight into the action. And from now on, it will be a commentary. My long-term viewers know I maybe have 5 to 10 wave windsurf sessions in a good year. And if somebody would have told me the things that I will tell you in this video 5 years ago, I probably would have done so much more progress. So guys, we are here at the Arte Vida Hotel in Tarifa. As you can see, we have a beautiful, beautiful day. Unfortunately, that day I was still sick. It was actually yesterday, I'm also still sick, so I wasn't fully energized. But yeah, beautiful day. We had side onshore winds, so yeah, tricky conditions. Waves were quite chaotic. And yeah, before we get out there, quickly about the gear. First tip, make the foot straps large, so you prevent yourself from twisting or breaking your ankle. It's really, it makes it so much easier. Also, you will be standing more centered on your board, and you will see later in this video why that is important. And then regarding my board, I'm actually not using the board that would be right for me. I have a quad, but using a thruster would make much more sense for me. The board that I'm using is actually a radical wave board, so it's not exactly for a wave beginner. Then you want to, obviously you lose less loose leech on a wave board than on a normal board. And then big tip, put the boom lower than when you're free riding or free racing. This also was a big game changer, and we'll tell you later in this video more about that. But before we continue with the tips, I just want to say quickly, obviously I'm a windsurf beginner myself, and I wish that somebody would have told me all the stuff that I'm going to tell you in this video years ago. So I really hope, and this video, of course, this video is made for wave beginners and people who are starting out in the waves. But if somebody would have told me all the stuff, it would have saved me so much struggle and pain, because when I started wave windsurfing, I wasn't sure if it is actually fun. But when you know a few things, and I hope that I will tell you a lot of them in this video, it becomes so much easier. And since I'm a beginner, please guys, tell me if you have more tips and tricks. Just write them in the comments. I'm super happy to hear about it. I mean, I watched a few YouTube tutorials this year. I listened to a few people on the beach, and this already made such a big difference to me. So I wonder what happens when, I don't know if there are more life hacks for wave windsurfing. I mean, just let me know in the comments. I'm very, very curious. And yeah, now it's time to get out now. And now we get to the first thing. So first of all, ask the people on the beach where the reef is and so on. So you don't want to mess around with that. So, ask them about that, where the channel is, where the waves are breaking. And then regarding getting through the shore break, you can see my right foot, the front foot, it's right behind the mast base. And this is something that I learned this year. Somebody told me on the beach. Thanks a lot again. I forgot the name, unfortunately. But putting the foot in line with the board makes it so much easier to get through the shore break. And now the lower boom comes into play, because with a free ride or free race board, you would use a higher boom. But in wave windsurfing, it's as far as, nice little jump. They were so fun. That was the first jump. And sorry that I interrupted the technical talk, but I'm getting so excited when I see this. I absolutely can't jump with my right foot in front, but on this day it worked, and I don't know how. And it got me so excited. This was the first one, and it already was a blast. So, sorry, where was I? Yeah, lower boom. The lower boom also allows you to go down with your body when you go through the shore break, through the white water. And this really makes such a big difference. I couldn't believe it. I was going relatively with a straight body posture through the shore break here in Tarifa for all the first sessions. And then somebody told me on the beach, man, go low and put your foot right behind the mast base in line with your board. And this made such a big difference. And then of course you want to get face straight into the white water. But I think that is obvious, because if the white water hits your board sideways, you're gonna crash right away, and you're gonna swim, and that's not so fun. So what I'm doing right now is going upwind, and this is Oh my God, guys, I wish somebody would have told me this years ago. I think I learned it 2 years ago, but only this year I really could make use of it. So the first thing that you do when you go out on your wave equipment is you sail upwind. Why is that? Because unlike with slalom and free racing, and this is really a different mindset, and it took me so long to get into this mindset, unlike with free racing and free riding and slalom, the sensation of wave windsurfing is not the going in a straight line. Also, it's also super fun because it's relaxed, but that's not the sensation. So the going in a straight line really only, like not only, but it mostly has the purpose of setting you up in the right position to then catch a wave or make a nice jump. And if you want to set yourself up nicely to catch a wave, for example, if you want to go to the point break, on that day, of course, we had onshore wind, so the conditions were very complicated. So there wasn't really a point break, and it was difficult to find the reef because also the shore changed. We had so much rain, so many storms, but that's a different topic anyway. The thing is, you want to go upwind to then have playing room to find a wave and take that and catch that wave. And if you go downwind on your first run, which is very tempting, especially when you have that slalom free race mindset and you did not grow up at the sea with waves and so on, it's so tempting. But it can ruin your entire session, because if you go downwind, it's so much harder to get back upwind, usually at least. And I had the problem so many times that I went out there, I went downwind, because I was like, oh yeah, let's go fast, and then you choose the wrong wave and you get thrown even further downwind, and then at some point you end up 500 meters down the beach and you have to do the walk of shame. And with a lot of wind, that's more fine, but this is really key. The session feels so different if you focus on going upwind. And now in just a moment we'll see the next important thing, and that's the outside maneuver. Ooh, another little jumpy. The outside maneuver is also something that I had to learn to do different. And what is different is that I have difficulties with the beach start. I'm very nervous, I think. But you want to make your jibe, or if you can, of course, you want to do a tack, but tacking on these, especially on the board that I have, I can't do a tack. It's too short, the board. On my slalom gear, it's no problem, even with the same volume, but not with this board. But you want to lose as little upwind performance, as little height as possible. So you do a tight tack. It does not need to be planing. You can jibe into a swell. That can be super fun, actually, because it can make it quite easy to plane through a jibe. And yeah, I will try that all day long. I will make a few planing jibes. I'm not sure if I'm going to make the next jibe planing. But what you see me doing all the time is pushing upwind, 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 so that on the next run, I will be in position to then catch, hopefully, the first wave. And what you just saw was a very narrow and tight jibe. I lost maybe 3-4 meters, but that's perfectly fine. And now it's time to go back in, and now you can see what a wide angle I have over the entire beach. I can really choose now where to go, where to catch a wave, and where to do my next thing. And I totally forgot, by the way, guys, to tell you about the upwind sailing technique. My God, that's the most important thing. But before that, we quickly need to talk about what I'm doing right now, which is positioning. And the positioning really is the next big thing. While I'm sailing in, I'm always looking to the left and to the right to see if I can find a nice wave. And now you can see me on a swell, and but on that day it was weird. Sometimes the waves just disappeared. In the forecast it said 2 meters and 30 centimeters swell with 9-second period, but it came across very chaotic. Now I'm doing actually the first bottom turn, and I don't have a lot of power. It's very difficult to do that with onshore conditions. With side offshore, it's so much easier to make a turn. But it felt like very good practice. And these were runs that were so fun. And because I'm upwind, I'm now very relaxed. And but I'm not sailing all the way until shore. By the way, this is another big learning, to exit a wave early. This was not particularly super early, but when I started out playing in the waves years ago, I took the waves until the beach all the time because it is very tempting to do so.
but you always end up in a mess if you do that. So you much rather exit the wave early when you're still safe, and then you can catch the next wave way faster, and like that you catch many more waves with better quality. Now about going upwind, the technique. So sorry if I explain it a little bit chaotic, but I want to really, want to give you all the information that I learned that helps me so much because this session was so fun, you know, and if more people felt this kind of stoke, and I mean, I'm a beginner, you know, I can't imagine how it is when you get to a proper level and you do really nice jumps and moves, as I can't imagine. Anyway, upwind technique. It is so different to slalom and free racing. You're basically railing the board in the opposite direction, meaning in slalom you're railing the board towards the leeward direction and you're working with that rail. In wave windsurfing, you don't want to use so much pressure on your back foot, however, because the fins are different and also the board shape. So what you're doing is, with your front foot, you're kind of using the inner rail and you're like railing the board towards yourself and using the board as a fin. And this pressure that you give on the front foot makes your sailing very balanced, and you will go upwind so fast. And the crazy thing is that as a wave beginner, at least it was for me like that, I just didn't know. So the first 1 or 2 years, my main problem when wave windsurfing was going upwind. I just couldn't manage to go upwind because I didn't know how the technique worked. And so this is another big learning. So if you're thinking about buying wave equipment, you know, right away from the get-go, you must be aware going upwind works different with this kind of equipment. If you know how it works, man, it's going to be almost easier than with the slalom or free race equipment. But at first you need to manage it once, and then it will feel kind of natural to you. And what I'm doing right now, guys, is a little bit of the waiting game. That's also something that I learned this year, is not just to sail in and out, in and out, in and out, but sometimes to take a moment and then wait for a wave. But you know, I often have a very hard time to do that myself. I actually found a little wave now. Let's see how that bottom turn turns out. I have a bit more speed than with the last wave. Oh, that was not so bad. I think that was the moment when I went from excitement to full stoke, because this was one of the, I think maybe if it was, until now, it was one of the best onshore wind bottom turns that I've done in my life. And the feeling is so different from side offshore bottom turns. And I was proud of myself. Sounds weird, but I was proud of myself that I made a turn like this, because all the past years I wasn't able to do that. And from this moment on, it was just about playing in the waves. And really what I just told you with staying upwind, the upwind technique, putting the boom lower and making the foot straps wide. Oh, if only you know how much value is in this information. At least it was for me like that, because nobody told me. And if I, for example, I only have 5, maybe if I'm lucky 10 wave sessions a year, it's something that I definitely want to change and that I also will change, because now that I'm not slalom racing anymore and that I'm changing that up to free racing, interesting jump, but that's the reason why you need wide foot straps, you know. But now that I'm not doing slalom racing so much anymore, more free racing, I also feel way more free to go more wave sailing, and it's very high in my priority list. And but when you don't have so many wave sessions every year, it's also like you don't watch so many tutorials and you don't talk to so many people about it, so you simply don't learn a lot. But even if you only have 5 wave sessions a year and you do these few things right, it's gonna do so much. And now will I make this turn? No, the wind dropped. And also I went out at low tide. This is another big learning, learning how to read the wave forecast. A free racer or slalom racer or free rider, you're always used to just read the wind forecast. But when you're going out in the waves, what is as much as important, maybe even more important, is the wave forecast, the swell forecast. For that I used Surf Line, that's how it's called. And yeah, you get a feeling for that. Also, normal surfing without a sail helps a lot to learn how to read these forecasts, at least a little bit. I'm by no means a pro in that, but if you get a little bit of knowledge with that, it helps you a lot to decide to what spot you're gonna go, where you're gonna go out, and especially when you're gonna go out. And normally you would also always want to get out there with rising water until high tide, and then with the high tide. Of course, depends a lot on the conditions, but this is what I got told here in Tarifa. I guess it also works for other places like this, because the waves are usually breaking on a reef. And well, it was fine, but here, by the way, I made the mistake. I was breaking my own rule. I think this is what went wrong at this point, because I just told you to stay further outside and exit. But what did I do? I didn't listen to myself, and this is exactly what happens then. And then all of a sudden you realize, yeah, even if the wave is not 2 meters high, it is freaking powerful, and so I lost my gear. So yeah, but you have to learn these things over and over again. But I feel like if you use like the 20-80 method, I think that's how it's called also in English, and no, 80% of my session I was not in the shore break, and yes, 20% I was struggling a bit, but the improvement is so big. And now, by the way, again, going out in the shore break, I'm really using the technique this guy told me at the beach with my foot. It helps so much. And also, by the way, you can, if you now sail into a shore break, I don't know if that will happen right now, but yeah, you can lift up the nose of your board, and especially when you have wind, you will see it later in the video, I think, you can go over pretty much any wide water. Without wind, I find it very tricky, especially when it's huge waves. I also saw a video of Ben Profit, and he said, actually, yeah, sometimes it's very smart to let go of your sail and let it kind of fly over a big wave when the wave is breaking right onto you to save your mast. So yeah, but my community also most of the time wants to see me to sail straight into the wide water, and I'm also getting better at that. Oh, that was a beautiful wave. Unfortunately, these beautiful waves, they sometimes just disappeared. But riding these waves, man, you can't see the true size of the waves, unfortunately, with the 360 cam, but they were actually quite big. Like, if I was looking back, like head high, shoulder high, yeah, you're gonna say, oh, it's measured differently and blah, blah, blah. But when you're in the face of the wave, this is how it looks, you know. And here you can perfectly see, you know, with this technique, you just get over the shore break super easily. Yeah, you want to go in high tide most of the time, because then obviously the water level is higher, the waves are a bit bigger, and also it's more safe with most reefs, simply. At least here in Tarifa it's like that. So here it's full low tide. I had to align with the wind, of course, because it doesn't help me if I'm out there at high tide and then there's no wind. But I actually went on the reef with my feet quite a few times that day, and that is because of low tide, and that's not so fun. And also sometimes the waves are just breaking very different at low tide compared to high tide. So you want to know when there's low tide and high tide. And by the way, this sometimes happens to me. I get very overloaded when I'm doing a top turn. I know that with side offshore winds, I know what to do. It's like bringing the backhand forward, also big game changer. This one I learned 2 years ago, but I never could really use it because I never got enough waves to like do anything or really practice a lot of turns. But yeah, this is something that I'm not doing on this day, because I was always so underpowered when making these turns, because yeah, with the wind direction, it felt like I was going completely downwind. And this turn, actually, it felt okay, but then the wave disappeared and I had no power left. And this is also a thing. I watched a tutorial from Graham Azzy, and I also want to share this with you, because this was also a game changer for me. And this Graham Azzy, he makes these, I don't remember what island exactly it was, but somewhere on Hawaii, I think. He makes tutorials. There's like 200 views on his YouTube channel. So yeah, check out his channel and say hi from me if you want to. But I watched one of his videos after a session that I had here on how to turn better. And he said, imagine you're pushing the sail away from yourself when you're in the bottom turn. And I don't know what exactly this is doing with my body or mind, but when I'm trying to do that, my turns feel so much better. And yes, I know what you're gonna say. Oh, Mario, you're not doing a lot of amazing turns in this video. Guys, believe me, I did not see any wave beginner that day making any nice turns. You know, I don't want to brag, and it didn't feel so bad. And it's just like I'm making improvements, you know. I mean, some years ago on a day like this, I would have done really nothing. And now I'm jumping with my weak foot, with my weak side, I can jump and I can do a few turns. So I'm super happy, guys. Yeah, I just never know. Sometimes feels like a strange dynamic in the wave community that people expect you to be like a master at it. But yeah, I'm just learning it. What can I say, guys? And now, was that the turn? Oh, this one felt so good. I was doing the thing that Graham Massey said. I was trying to keep the sail away from myself, and these turns felt so good because it somehow gives me. I don't know what it is. I could lean in somehow. I could lean in, and I also looked at where I wanted to go, and this also helped me a lot. And I felt like on other sessions I was often looking at where I don't want to go, or I was looking down, or I was looking at the spray. I was hoping to get some spray, but this always resulted in a crash. So looking where you want to go, and trying to. That was a weird one. And then trying to, am I gonna get eaten by a wave now? No, I don't think so. And keeping that sail away from yourself in the turn. Oh no. I was actually scared to lose my Insta360 camera. I would have been so sad because this was one of the best wave sessions that I've had in my life. Anyway, these are things that I really can encourage you guys if you're starting out to try, because, and this is the thing, when you're coming, or when you are a free rider, free racer, wave foiler, whatever, and you go into a bottom turn, you always think it's a jibe, but it's really the opposite of a jibe. And I think this turn will be good. I actually hit the white water. I know it was not a big wave, but I think I hit it again. And I tell you guys, I was leaning inwards, and these turns, they felt so different from all the turns before that. And I would really like to know why that is. Also, please write me in the comments, how can I improve these turns? What are things that you need to pay attention to? Yeah, this mixing up the idea of a jibe. Now I made a mistake again, See, now I pulled in with my backhand. I did the jibe thing, and this is how you end up. You lose the power, and it doesn't work, especially not in these onshore conditions. But yeah, this is really the thing that makes the big difference, I feel like. Now I'm leaning in, I'm looking at the wave, and this felt so good. I was so stoked. But yeah, guys, I think this is it for now. If you enjoyed the video, just leave me a thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to see more of that. Next week we're going to continue with more free race content videos. Here you can see my foot. Of course, I ended up on the reef at some point. Yeah, I hope you could take something away. I know it was a lot of information, but I really wanted to make a video where I talk about all the mistakes that I've made on my little wave journey. And if you need anything windsurf related, no matter what discipline you're doing, feel free to check out our online surf shop, The Wind Lounge. It's linked in the video description. I would say see you next time. Bye-bye.